Alright, what's going on, friends? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to change your oil on your Cub Cadet mower. Now, I'm doing this on a LTX 1046. It's probably going to be real similar to any of the 1000 series Cub Cadets. Now, I am doing this also on their Kawasaki engine. They have a Kawasaki and a Kohler that comes in some of these lawn mowers. So, if you have the Kohler, it may be slightly a little bit different. One spot that's definitely different is where the oil drains out. I think that's a little bit different, but even what I'm going to show you, I think will help you if you have a Kohler. Another difference between the Kohler and the Kawasaki is in the manual, it will tell you that your mower takes 2.2 quarts of oil. Well, that is for the Kohler engine. If you have a Kawasaki engine, it takes 1.9 quarts, so like almost 2 quarts of oil. So if you have the Kohler engine, you're going to need 3 quarts because it goes just a little bit over 2. And if you have the Kawasaki, you're going to only need 2 quarts of oil. So you got the oil. Well, I have the oil. You're also going to need probably a funnel, and you might as well change out your filter. I will put a Kawasaki filter down in the description along with a Wix filter that I bought here at our local hardware store. Or actually the guy that owns this mower bought at the local hardware store. And you're probably going to want maybe some type of tube to hook up to where your oil comes out. If you don't have that tube, you may get by with just a piece of cardboard. You'll see how I kind of bend this up and use it for the filter. You may be able to do the same thing for the oil. And you're probably going to want a couple of paper towels. And on this Kawasaki anyway, the little valve I got to turn is like a 10 millimeter. Or if you have a really wide flat tip screwdriver, that probably will also work. And something to drain your old oil in. All right, well, let's get to changing the oil. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to back this out of my garage and I'm going to start the engine up. And I'm going to let this engine run about 3 to 5 minutes just to warm up the oil inside. The oil will drain out a lot easier when it's warm. Plus, it will mix up any sediment that may be sitting in the bottom of your engine. So that will drain out when you drain your oil. All right, another thing I do have, if you didn't see it already, is I have a big piece of cardboard sitting underneath my lawnmower. That way, if I spill any of the oil, it doesn't go all over my garage floor. One more thing I almost forgot to tell you is you may want a funnel. It'll make it a lot easier to pour your new oil into your lawnmower. All right, after you got your lawnmower warmed up, so we got the oil all warmed up. Now we're going to take our dipstick out, which is right here. Make sure you have a rag or a paper towel, and we're just going to wipe that off. And just set that aside. I'm just going to sit it up on top of the mower here because it's nice and clean. Now I'm going to turn my wheel all the way to the right. All right, I got my wheel turned all the way to the right. I can fit my drain pan right here. All right, this is your filter we're going to be changing. And right down here is where we're going to drain the oil out. I got to take this tube that I showed you, and I got to put it right over top of that. And then we're going to loosen that up and drain all the oil out. Now you can either use your 10 millimeter socket or just a big flat tip screwdriver. I'm going to loosen that screw up. You don't need to take it all the way out. They put these wires in a dumb spot. All right, while that's draining, a couple other things I want to let you know is it does say in the manual to do this every 50 hours, or like what I'm going to do, because I only have like a half an acre, and this mower only mows half an acre. I think it's okay just to change this once a season if you're only mowing a half an acre. Now, if you're mowing a couple people's lawns, you might end up having to do that more than once. I'm putting in 10W30 oil. If you look in the manual, it does say a few different types of oil that you can put in this. I'll put the chart right here on the screen, so it's mainly just for different temperatures. But I think where I live here in Pennsylvania, I think the 10W30 will be just fine, or maybe even a 30 weight if you want. All right, all my oil is done draining, so now I'm going to close this valve. careful with this. I think it's only plastic, so don't go all He-Man on that. Really tighten her down. All right, I'm going to take my little piece of cardboard that I kind of made up. I even cut a little spot for this wire, I think. I want to see if I can slide that in here even before I take that tube off. That matters. Now there. I'm going to put that up here. See, I mainly made this just because when I take this filter off, it's going to make a mess. Now I'm going to just be able to grab a hold of mine and take this off because this is a little rough. If you cannot do that with your hand, you may need a filter wrench. And if I can find a filter wrench that will fit that filter, I'll put that down in the description also. It shouldn't be that tight. Now I'm going to take my new filter and I'm just going to dip my finger in some of this oil here. Now, if dipping your finger in that used oil gets you all excited, open one of your new oils up and you can get some new oil if you want. I want to put that on that rubber seal. Kind of wipe this off. Check this. Make sure there's no rubber seal still on there for some reason from like the last filter. I'm going to put the new filter on. Now this only needs to go on hand tight. Doesn't have to be real tight. That's good enough. My cardboard, no mess. All right, I drained all my old oil. I'm going to put 2 quarts in there, then I'm going to stick my dipstick in there and just see what it looks like. All right, I'm going to put the dipstick back in and just check it. Just make sure when you pour them 2 in, you check it, because if you didn't get all the oil out of there, or another thing is, when I start this up and run it, it's going to fill up this oil filter. That could change my reading also when I start this and let it run for a little bit, then shut it back off. So I think I'm going to fire this up, maybe pull it outside, let it run just a little bit. Then I'm going to shut it off and maybe let it sit for 15 minutes, then I'll check it again. Because you don't want to overfill that. I went out and just drove around my driveway. I brought it back in. It's been sitting for about 10 minutes. I think that's good enough. So let's check this oil again. And if it's still sitting at the full mark, I'm going to leave it go. I'm going to wipe that off once, put it back in. Still pretty much showing that it's in the full mark. We can check it again before I go mow, or before my neighbor uses this to mow, I'll let him maybe check and see what he thinks, because this is his mower. So, all right, well, if you like this video, check out all the other videos I have on this one. I'm going to have some videos on sharpening the blades, greasing the mower up, leveling the deck. So I'll put some of them videos at the end of this one if you want to watch any of them. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button to help support my channel. God bless, and have a great summer.